What's going on, guys? It's Lee. Thanks for watching Hang with Lee TV. And of course, I'm Lee, and today we're going to talk about how to save money even when you're broke. If it's your first time here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell to be alerted every time I make a new video, so you can catch videos just like this one on adulting, life advice, and other stuff. Now, today we're going to talk about how to save money even when you're broke. I know you're probably thinking, but I don't make enough money to save, Lee. I don't make enough money. Now, I'm going to call BS on that, okay? Seriously. Now, in order to save money, what you have to do is you have to live below your means, and you have to make a commitment to do that. That way you'll always have something left over to save. Now, this video is not going to be a video where I'm just going to sit here and be like, number one, do this, number two, do that, number three, do this. Like, no, it's not going to be a video like that. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about several things that you guys can do starting today to start saving money. Like I said, even when you're broke, like even when things are financially tough, these things are going to help you out a lot. Now, one of the first things that you can do for yourself is stop pretending that you're not broke. Okay, so just stop pretending, all right? Now, what I mean is stop spending money like money is just flowing into your bank account like a waterfall. And what you have to do is you have to start being honest with yourself about your financial situation. And once you're honest with yourself, that's how you can move forward. Now, the next thing you can do is you can take a very close look at yourself, okay? Just look yourself in the eye, all right? Just get real with yourself, okay? And ask yourself, how did I get here? Why am I so broke? And chances are it has a lot to do with your spending habits. Now, I highly recommend that you guys create a budget for yourself. Now, if you don't know how to make a budget, I made a video on how to budget, and so you guys will want to check that out after this video. Now, I'll go ahead and leave a link up here or in the description below so you guys can check that out. Now, one of the things I will say is that once you have created a budget, you will have a really good idea of where you stand financially, and you can make better decisions, and you can also see where you're spending too much money, where you can save more money, and you'll probably look really closely at your budget and determine that you probably should sell your car because it's probably eating up too much money from your paycheck every month. But you know, I digress. I'll let you figure that out for yourself. Now, the next thing you can do is you can start paying yourself first. Okay, now what does that mean? It's exactly what it sounds like. Pay yourself first. So, you know, I know that when you're broke, things can be pretty difficult. So, you know, it depends. Like, you might have to start off with $5 per week, $10 per week in terms of how much money you're able to save. And another thing you guys can do is you can basically go ahead and set up automatic payments through your employer into a savings account. Okay. Now, I will preface this, if you don't have an employer, you're gonna have to get one because that's gonna make this whole saving thing pretty difficult, okay? So go ahead, make sure that you guys are putting this money into a separate account. So a savings account, not a checking account. Don't mix that money up. Don't do it, separate it. Now, the easiest thing, like I said, is to pay yourself first. So if you're putting your money into a separate account first, it's basically out of sight, out of mind. You can use the rest of the money for your bills and expenses the rest of the month. And that is a really great way to save money. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is that you don't want to touch the money that you put in your savings account. That is for saving, okay? Save that money. Don't touch it at all. One of the things that you can strive towards is actually building up an emergency fund. And you know, depending on your financial situation, that might be $500, it could be $1,000. Now, that might really sound like a lot of money, but one of the things that I've noticed just throughout life and throughout my experiences is that if you have an emergency fund, if something unexpected comes up, you won't have to worry as much about it. It won't be so detrimental. It won't hurt as much. Now, of course, it's still gonna suck and it's probably still gonna set you back a bit, but you'll have that money to go and reach over to take care of that emergency. Now, with that being said, not everything is an emergency, and so you have to be very, very careful about what an emergency is. Like, if your car just stops working and you have to get something fixed, that is an emergency, because how are you gonna get to work? You have to be very, very mindful about what you consider an emergency, and there really is no wiggle room when it comes to that. So be very strict with yourself. This is all about you, and so you have to take this very seriously. Now, if you can do that successfully, you will be light years ahead of everyone else, and you'll have that money saved, and if something does happen, you'll be able to handle that a lot better. All right, so another thing that you guys can do to save money even when you're broke is to look for other ways to save. So what does that mean, Lee? Well, if you live in a city, you can take public transportation. Even if you live in a suburb just outside the city that has good public transportation, that might actually be a really good option for you as well, because it's gonna save you a lot of money more than likely. If you can walk to where you're going, go ahead and walk. If you can bike to where you're going, go ahead and bike. Now, the next thing you can do, of course, it's a big money saver, and that's gonna be to pack your lunch every single day. Now, I know how it is. You wanna go out and eat, you wanna go hang out with your coworkers to this place or that place, but if you pack your lunch every single day, you're gonna save a ton of money. That is probably where people spend the most money. That and Starbucks. Just cut Starbucks out of your life. But what you want to do is you want to look and find any and every way that you can to save money. That also includes subscription services. So if you are subscribed to, unfortunately Netflix, or if you have a gym membership that you're not using, so if you're still fat, just cancel it. No, but really, if you have things that you're not using, you definitely want to go and look and cancel those things so that you can save that money instead. And then once you're in a better position, you can maybe subscribe to some of those again down the road. That also means that you're gonna have to skip on going out to eat just in general. So just skip it all together. Also, those outings, those happy hours with coworkers after work, you're probably gonna have to stop doing that as well, because you're trying to save. And I know that peer pressure it's a real thing. It's a real thing, but you're gonna have to just say no. Just say no and know that you're making the right decision for yourself. Now, other people don't understand. They're not gonna understand. They're gonna say, oh, just come on, you just have one drink, etc. But it's not just one drink. It's an expense to you, and more than likely it's more than one drink, and it's an appetizer and some other stuff to go with it. So just make that decision ahead of time and just say no. Now, the other thing that I think is really important is just not to fool yourself. Now, aside from a budget, I really strongly recommend that for at least a month, you write down everything that you spend money on. Write it all down. I think that what you'll find is that when you go and you look back, you'll look to see where you're spending your money. And I think that you'll also find that you're spending money in a lot of ways that you didn't even realize. And you're spending money places more frequently than you actually realize as well. And that again is gonna help open your eyes to see where you can save money, because when you're broke, every single dollar and cents counts. And you really need to pay very close attention to where every single dollar is going. Now, I highly recommend that you check out this book by Dave Ramsey. It's a phenomenal book. It's called The Total Money Makeover. And this book will change your life if you let it. So go ahead and get that book. I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link in the description below so you guys can check that out on Amazon. But it is a phenomenal book. And it's actually part of the reason why I was able to pay off $50,000 of student loans way faster than I ever imagined. So now, another thing that you can do that's gonna really help you when you're trying to save is to knock out your debt. Now, it really depends on how broke you are when it comes down to this, right? If you're super duper broke, knocking your debt out is gonna be a lot more challenging than if you're just kind of broke, right? But I think that it is very, very important to knock your debt out, because what you'll find is that, when it comes down to monthly expenses, this stuff piles up. So the more debt you have, the more it's taking away from your buying power, your saving power. You're gonna have to make that much more money to enjoy a certain level of quality of life if you have all these debts just sort of eating your paycheck up. So for instance, if you have student loans, just go ahead and knock those out. Stop waiting for some debt relief program. Stop waiting for the next presidential candidate who says they're gonna eliminate student loans, and stop waiting for student loan forgiveness programs, because honestly they're not really gonna pay your money off, and it's really not working out for a lot of people if you go and do your research. So what you have to do is you have to be realistic, and you have to take your future into your own hands and just start paying down those debts, okay? So if it's student loans, if it's a car, no matter what it is, go ahead and just start paying it down. Also, when it comes down to cars, you have to be really, really smart. If you made a bad decision and you bought a very expensive car that just doesn't make sense for the amount of money that you make, you probably should just go ahead and sell that vehicle because it's not doing you any favors. So sell that car instead, and then go buy something cheap with cash to get you from point A to point B until you're in a more solid financial situation. that's going to be the best thing that you can do for yourself, because spending all this money on this expensive vehicle every month is really not helping you out at all. Now, one of the last things I want to say is that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Now, when you're broke, when things are really, really a struggle, I mean, you really, got to keep that hope alive. Now, I've been broke before as well. Like when I first moved out, things were tough, and I wasn't making a lot of money. And I had to be really, really smart about how I spent my money. And that's kind of where a lot of this information that I'm sharing with you right now came from. It's just me being real with you. And, you just have to be real with yourself, honestly. But, one of the things to keep in mind is that no matter how tough things are for you right now, there's someone else out there, things are way tougher for them. They're struggling way more than you are right now. And I think that you have to keep that sort of mindset. Being broke is not something that you have to, fixate on. This is something that is just temporary. It's just your situation right now. And so you need to basically create a plan for yourself, a path for you to follow so that you can, not be broke, basically. So make sure that you guys keep that in mind, because I know it's tough, but it is very important. Now, if you guys have any other tips on how to save even when you're broke, or if you have any stories about how you guys have kind of overcome being broke or having, some financial hardships in life, I definitely want to hear from you. So go ahead and leave a comment below and I'll check that out. And I'm pretty sure that no matter what you have to share will be valuable for other people as well in the same situation. And I think it'll give you guys some other ideas as well in terms of how to, get back on your feet, basically. So thanks for watching the video. Hope it was helpful, and I will see you guys next time.